Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the Managing Director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. This video is, as the title suggests, I've had folks over the years sort of kind of be belaboring under the mistaken impression that they're not required to file tax returns to the United States because they live abroad. It's not an uncommon mistaken notion, but it's a mistaken notion nonetheless. Pursuant to U.S. law, United States citizens, unlike the citizens of many countries, U.S. citizens are required to pay taxes on their worldwide income. So that being stated, there are exclusions, there are set-asides for folks who live abroad, most notably the foreign earned income exclusion, which allows American citizens who derive foreign income whilst living abroad for a certain amount, for a statutorily defined period of time in each calendar year. Those folks are going to go ahead and get an exemption from certain taxes if they make under a certain amount of money. If you go over the threshold, there's sort of a recalculation for that. I'm not going to go into the details or specifics of that, but I'm only mentioning it because, yes, one needs to file their taxes, but it may not necessarily mean that one has to actually pay anything. So it should be noted that although one is required to file taxes, even if they're living overseas, the requirement to actually pay any taxes might not be there. So it's something to keep in mind. The taxes need to be filed, but they don't necessarily need to be paid, because most people, the vast majority of folks, are going to fall under the foreign earned income exclusion, which currently it goes up year by year. It sort of tracks inflation in a way, but at present it's a little bit over 100,000 US dollars. I can say with a large degree of certainty, most folks living in Thailand do not derive that amount of money, or most folks living and working in Thailand, I should say, do not derive that amount of money just in personal income. In fact, it's rather rare to see that. So that should be noted, that one does need to pay, one does need to file tax returns if living overseas, but one may not actually have to pay anything to the IRS. Another thing to keep in mind is one should go ahead and file taxes, because one doesn't get the exclusion without filing their taxes. So even though one may, in a given taxable year, one may be eligible for the FEIE, without actually filing one's taxes, the exemption doesn't kick in, essentially. So bear that in mind. It's a good idea to get this stuff filed. It's also fair to note that by actually filing one's taxes, essentially the clock begins running on the notion of statute of limitations and things. I'm not saying that one should go out there trying to file erroneous taxes or something like that with respect to the statute of limitations. What I mean to say is, by going ahead and filing it, it puts the matter effectively to bed after a certain period of time has transpired. Whereas if someone fails to file their tax return and has to deal with it at a later date, the statute of limitations may not necessarily be running, depending on how sort of the posture of the situation in the specifics of one of those cases. So bear that in mind. Another thing to think about, and this is especially important at present, as on another video on this channel we discuss passport revocation in connection with delinquency of taxes. The U.S. State Department is now having delinquent taxes certified by the U.S. IRS. The IRS is certifying delinquent taxes, and by doing that, based on the statutory scheme that came into effect January 1 of 2016, folks that are delinquent in their taxes over a statutorily defined amount of money, who don't meet certain exemptions as set forth in the statute and under IRS regulations, those folks could have their passports revoked. So it should be noted that getting a handle on one's taxes is an extremely good idea, especially in the current under the current new rules regarding U.S. tax matters, specifically the one regarding U.S. passport revocation, as it would not be a very beneficial thing to find oneself in a foreign country, Thailand or otherwise, in a foreign country, and have one's passport revoked by the U.S. Embassy. So something to definitely think about is getting a handle on one's tax matters quickly, and getting it dealt with expeditiously, so essentially one can put it behind them and move on down the road.